true is that we get a chance to speak to Quinn Callahan on the line. Welcome, Quinn. Congratulations on the victory. My first question, what was the motivation behind this Mario poster that's on your wall now?
It is not my motivation. I'm at a boot camp place, as I am just a nomad at this point. Yeah, so this is the boot camp of the week, and they chose to lovely decorate their walls with some Mario memorabilia. So yeah.
Okay, then I can ask another question geared towards motivation. You're qualified for Bali, you're qualified for Riyadh, you're qualified for TI. You have oftentimes said that you just like to win, or rather, you don't like to lose. What emotion is stronger for you? The pain of an especially heartbreaking loss, or the elation from a very, very well-earned victory?
Oh, it's not even close. Losing is so much worse than winning is good. That's I've talked about that like ad nauseum with like teammates and random people. Losing is so much worse than winning is good. So, you know, you're just always, the spikes are closing in, you know, you need to push the spike walls away. That's professional Dota. You just, except you can't because they're spiky, you know, you're finding appliances and, you know, Tupperware or whatever you got to push the spikes away.
Well, right now it seems like you're using trophies to push it away because you've had a great many victories, but even then, none of that. Standing on stage in Lima, standing on stage in Stockholm, it doesn't compare to, I don't know, can you give me an example of an especially painful loss that you remember?
I mean, there's the classic wide back Quinn moment, against T1 at the Animajor. That was a rough one. That was the most angry I've ever been.
I think Avery corroborated that, so I can agree with that. Sheep, any questions for Quinn?
Hi, Quinn.
Hello.
My question is, if every Dota team was in a Hunger Games style arena where you all had to kill each other, how do you think your team would do? What would be like your team's strategy?
I mean, we're all like kind of tall. Some of us are reasonably fit. So I feel like we'd be top like maybe 20th, 30th percentile. We'd probably do pretty well, actually. I think we'd be in contention for winning. There's going to be some Spotify rebellion you're going to have to contend with because Fly's going to kung fu us. But but besides that, I think we do all right.
What's your perk on your team? Because everyone's got to have a specialty. What are you bringing to the table?
What am I bringing to the table?
Yeah.
Or is my team?
You specifically. Each of you, you know, you have classes. I know, well, Brian's been talking to me a lot about Diablo, so I just have that on the mind. So somehow you have an X factor.
Maybe I'm like the librarian, you know, if ever we need to, you know, find out what a special plant is, if it's poisonous or not, you know, I'll dive deep into the Rolodex and pull out it's a hibiscus.
Okay. I'm into it.
Wait, so what would your strategy be for taking down Fly? Like, how would you go about that?
The hibiscus.
I don't. You'd have to indulge some trickery. You can't fight him straight up. You know, you got to be sneaky. You got to be backhanded.
I see. And we've been running the like Quinn Ramsey shit into the ground because we have nothing else.
Yeah.
And like you are a proponent. Oh, I'm the heel, and yet you rarely start shit. It's actually quite annoying. Do you think you could make some more beef happen so we can have more content?
Yeah, I'll try. I started some beef the other day with somebody. I don't remember who it was though. It happens so often to me that I don't even remember. But I'm working on it. Don't worry. I'll play some pubs tonight and I'll stir some stuff up for you.
See, the problem is your stream has no VODs enabled. Like if you allowed clips to happen, then things would get on Reddit more often and we could make something. So.
Yeah, the thing is I gotta like save. I have to save room for the people who like want to show. Hey, I got a rampage. Because if I have clips enabled, then the whole Reddit will just be clips of me either flaming or like pogging off. So I choose to show some mercy to the Redditors who want people to see their rampage.
That's so kind and respectful. Thank you so much, Quinn.
Man of the people.
Yeah.
Kezu, what's on your mind?
Okay, how... Hello, Quinn. How are you?
Hello, good.
Great. Now, start off my question. You played against the GOAT earlier, a.k.a. Miracle, on his Earthshaker. You played Void Spirit. What do you think about this matchup? The hero matchup.
I think it's chill for Void Spirit. I think there's some other melee heroes that are worse, but Void Spirit's laning is kind of rigged because he's singing Broken Versal. So, yeah, I think the lane is chill. I think maybe it's supposed to go slightly better for Shaker. I think he messed up the first two waves a bit, but overall, I think it's not like that far out of expected outcome.
Okay, question number 2. Liquid have a special term for how you and your team play around you in the mid lane. It's called cringing, when they all come middle. Do you and your bros have any terms for other teams? Like funny meme terms that describe something?
I mean, we don't have specific terms for teams, but we say people are unga-bungaing whenever they move around the map in a sort of unwieldy blob. They're not playing the map very well. They're being, sort of klutzy. We say they're unga-bungaing. Just dodge the unga-bunga.
Okay, so it's like ooga booga.
Yeah, ooga booga, unga-bunga, yeah.
Okay, I had another question.
You had
Go
to ask
for it.
3.
Yeah, I had another
Yes,
one.
Have
It
number
was.
4. Or
Yeah,
you just
let's.
forget what it was.
This is not the one, but it's a different one that comes to mind. You guys looked more beatable in your last DPC games. I know you've been taking it more chill, but if you had to attribute it to something, what would that be? Is it playing less? Is it comms? Is it draft? A mixture of all?
Yeah, it's 100% just taking it less, like trying less hard. Like, for instance, during the first DPC, we scrimmed probably, I don't know, we scrimmed like 3 sets a day every day. I think we had 1 off day for the entire boot camp. Even days where we had officials, we were playing scrims. Whereas this one, we maybe played like 10 scrims the entire DPC. And I think whenever other people are hungry or other people are trying hard, or you're just going to drop games. Like, people are really good at Dota nowadays. Yeah. It's not like the old days where you could sort of breeze by and just win games. Like, if you're not working hard, people are going to figure out the meta better than you. They're going to have hero advantage, and they're going to clap your cheeks. And like, Tundra was that, right? They were super far ahead of us in the meta. They played really well. They just outplayed us. They outdrafted us, and they clapped their cheeks.
Yep, sounds good. Now stop playing Ember, and I'm done with my questions.
That's not even a question.
Never.
That's just a statement.
At least one interesting game is
the
what he's trying to
demand.
say.
Yeah.
Quinn, a few years back, we had a conversation about you talking about the idea of your resting MMR, which the context I took it as is like, this is how you play when your brain's like autopilot turned off, like you'd do this with your eyes closed kind of thing. And I'm just wondering if that's something you still think about on like on a daily basis, or like at least sometimes when it comes to improving it, because you talked a lot about like good habits and things to focus on.
Yeah, I think your baseline being very high is very valuable. In a lot of ways, it's more valuable than your ceiling being high. I mean, both are valuable, but in a lot of cases, high pressure situations, etc., people revert to playing at their baseline. And I think a lot of how I've tried to improve has been like just sort of ingraining things into my gameplay so that I will just do them and I can think about other things, or I can comms more or comms better or whatever, because a lot of the small intricacies are just really baked in. So I don't need to like think about them overly.
Yeah, I view you as a very wise person. Not trying to suck up to you here.
That's a mistake.
What I mean by this is when I hear stuff like that, it seems so simple, but I think a question a lot of people would ask as a follow-up is like, what's like maybe the most recent thing you did that you ingrained into your play that you didn't have to think about, that you realized you had to?
I mean, I think this is half gameplay and half not, but I think my pregame routine and like draft thought routine has been more recently ingrained. I think there's like the things I do before game, I've like set to be exactly the same. The things I think about in draft, and sort of like there's a certain like how I think about my hero and how it interacts with the other heroes. Like, I think it's very easy to get baited into thinking about other people's heroes or about aspects of the draft that don't matter, as opposed to understanding your hero really deeply. And if you catch yourself thinking about other stuff for even just like a couple minutes during the draft, that can have like really big implications for like how you understand the game, because each game is different, right? And the heroes interact differently. And so if you understand it at a very core level, like that takes like active thought from game to game. And I think I've gotten better at that.
That's really cool, man. Thank you.
What's the meaning of life, Quinn?
42.
What is it, 42?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
That's a shit answer. I didn't want that.
Thank you, Tsunami.
Read a book, then you'll like the answer more.
I don't want to read.
And I don't want to think either. I come into every game with preconceived notions and I stick by them. Quinn, congratulations on the win against the 9 Pandas, and looking forward to how your team does in the rest of Dream League.
Thank you. Suck it, RAMDOG.